everyone. Welcome to another interesting episode of Techtalk-With-AFO. And as usual, I'm live and direct with my two buddies, Ife and Kirsta. The progressive Ife and the conservative Kirsta. A round of applause for my buddies. Kirsta, Ife. It's another week, it's another edition, Tech Talk with AFO, where we have conversation around technology. Everything on technology is what we discuss on Tech Talk with AFO. Guys, how are you doing today?
Doing very well. I'm excited for this episode.
Yeah, Kesta is currently in
a trance mode. In a trance mode.
Guys, today's conversation is it's a serious conversation we're having today, guys. Very serious conversation. And it borders around security. Security of lives and property, security of our country, security of every Nigerian. We all understand how this has kind of been so challenging in the last how many years, but I think in the last 3 to 6 months, it's even something else. Kidnapping every day. The one that makes the news is even what we get to talk about. There are lots of kidnapping that happens that doesn't even get to make the news. Yeah. People are kidnapping and ransom are collected. Ransom are collected, behind the scene. We have kidnapping. Kidnapping of students now seems to be the order of the day. The Kaduna incident, the Katsina, Kano, different kidnapping just happening everywhere. You have that on one side. You have banditry. The terrorists seems to be back again. I think Boko Haram in the last how many months now they've been striking back to back. These are serious issues. And that's the conversation I would like us to talk about today. Guys, why are we in this situation? Beyond the fact that we need strong leadership, part of what I would like us to discuss today is what could be missing? What exactly are we getting wrong as a country that we're finding it difficult to have a secured country, to have a secured state, to have a secured local government? Without doubt, economic factors has a major role to play. But what I want us to focus on today is the technology side of it. Could that be the missing puzzle? Because by the time you look at countries that security is taken very seriously, or they are really making things happen when it comes to security of lives and property, without doubt, you will see that technology is central to what is making this a reality. And in our own situation, things seems to be, a challenge. Security really seems to be a challenge for us. And that's the conversation I would like us to have today. Few weeks ago, I think it's going to about 6 weeks already now, some soldiers were killed in the south. Yeah. Now, the perpetrators of this crime, where are they? Who are they? Do we have, a clear understanding of their IDs? What exactly have we been able to do with the national ID database that we have as a country? Has it really gotten to the point that those individuals responsible for it have been identified? You see that from that point of view. Some of all of those incidents that we talk about, what have we achieved from ID management standpoint and really getting to the heart of the problem? So guys, it's important for me to give you the perspective of our conversation today, for you guys to understand why technology is central to it. And I want you guys to also react to my opening remark.
Yeah, thank you very much. For that introduction. That's a good one. I think security breaches poses a major consequence to a lot of people, and we are not just talking of Nigeria. We're talking of every other country in the world. like outside Nigeria, there's actually an allegation against a popular artist, Diddy, Shin Diddy. They call him PDD. He's a very popular American artist. He was alleged to use his home for.
Before you were born, I won't say before you were born. Sorry, apologies for that. But then, I mean, you're probably still a toddler. We know him as Puff Daddy. Puff Daddy, bro. Puff Daddy. So don't think when watching Techtalk-With-AFO.
Seriously, I used to think it's only Ailamo we are FT used to listen.
But make your point, man.
I don't know. You know him, like.
If make your point. I'm not caught out for this insult this afternoon.
It's not an insult. I just no now.
Kesa. Can we continue, please?
No, let me continue. We just ignore that. It never happened. Okay. So we have allegations like around PDD going into sex trafficking, using his home for sex trafficking, child molestation, and also to push drugs and all that. And if you look at it, you feel like USA as a whole, like we know they have, in terms of security, they are like the benchmark for security, like US. And you wonder how we have these atrocities like going around. So security in general is actually a very big thing, and it's something every country should always strive towards. I know we can't. There's nothing like a complete security, because the more you say you want to implement more security, the more we have some people that are actually working against what you've actually implemented. They are looking for breaches, they are looking for potholes, right? And I think with the introduction of technology, it is going to solve a lot of things. But my point will still be based on security being something that you yourself have to be responsible for. You can have a whole building filled with technology, automations, and everything, and it will just take just one security person or someone managing your system. It will take a breach. A breach can happen from that particular person. So security in its actual sense is actually something that humans, like in general, we have to be aware of it. We have to be educated on how we can actually secure ourselves. Without these educations, every technology we put in place is just going to be useless without this having this security awareness as a person.
Security for us as an individual, that is my responsibility, right? The security of concern now that borders on the security of human life and property, right, is vested in government. That's the security, the conversation we want to have today. Yeah. I'm talking about kidnapping that happens every day now. So for some weird reason now, those that ordinarily would have been pickpocketing and all of that, they've seen the kind of ransom people are getting. And that's why, the demands. So, for example, now look at the crazy demand that was made of recent for kids that were kidnapped in the north. How absurd it was. I mean, asking for a ransom that is even more than Nigerian budget.
More than Nigerian budget.
Kester, you get my point.
I do. Honestly, if I'm to give an opinion, I think it would be. Now, this is me speaking with all humility, right? It would be presumptuous of me to come and start putting out what I think, the government should do this, because, I mean, what experience do I have? But there is this, would I call it a myth, right? That is kind of popular within us in Nigeria. I think every Nigerian at a certain age would be able to, recognize this saying. It's a popular saying that, with Nigerian police, when they want to look for you, when they want to find you, when they want to do real police work, they usually get it done, right? But for some reason, this is usually, from what I've seen, from what I've heard, this tends to happen for high-profile people, high-profile individuals, right? When it comes to the regular street guy, street girl that has been a victim, right, of insecurity, it's just a thing where, in fact, going to the police is no longer like a sure thing for you, except you have money to pay and stuff like this, right? So this begs the question, is this as a result of, oh, they are not training police officers well? I don't want to believe that, right? Again, I don't have much knowledge on some of these things. I don't want to believe that. And what I would end my statement with is the fact that I think that there should be a high level of intentional investment, right, and intentionality in our security, right? Because now, I'm sure from the videos we are going to get to review today, we are going to see some of these things that actually speaks to the investment aspect. So actually invest in actual security technology that would, create security for the environment, for us as people. Yeah.
Kester, thank you for your thoughts. Again, just to reiterate the point I'm trying to make, for starters, as a country, we need a major overall of our entire security architecture, right? And it has to be, again, like you said, Kester, it has to be intentional. Now, from some of the videos you see, you will understand the intentionality of why it has to be intentional. I beg your pardon, right? Why it has to be intentional. The first video we'll watch, you will see how much a country is putting on the importance of security, to the extent of having a national policy around AI to drive to support technology, to support security. You understand what I'm saying? And the person sitting on the head of this particular committee, or the driver of this policy, is the president of that country. You see where I'm coming from? So a major overhaul of our security architecture, which would make technology central to it. Again, I will still get to some of the things I would love to personally propose as what we need to do as a country to get things going. We can't just have a country where kidnapping happens every day, people get missing, and it's even as bad as ransom will be collected and people will still be killed. Ransom will be collected and people will be killed. It is that bad now, right? The few that makes the news is what we get to talk about. There's a lot of kidnapping that happen, right? The under the radar that we don't even hear anything about. Okay, so just for you to understand why, how technology could be a major tool to arrest the current situation. Last week, there was a terrorist attack in Russia, right? And in a space of, I think it's less than 72 hours, the perpetrators of this particular crime
apprehended,
they were caught.
Yeah.
Right? And that could happen. It went as far as details of how everything was planned, their communication, their movement, and they could backtrack how everything was planned. All of this can happen because technology central to their security architecture. So at the beginning, when I said that our conversation today is on security, it's because I really want us to shed enough light on the failings of our security as a country, relating it to the lack of a technology-driven security architecture responsible for where we find ourselves today. No process to drive it, no policy that everybody must compulsorily follow. So, to continue our conversation, guys, maybe this will even make you understand what I'm saying. Can you drop the first video?
China's pursuing an ambitious plan to create an omnipresent video surveillance network. The Shuiliang, or Sharp Eyes project, aims to extend and integrate video surveillance from cities into villages and from roads into residential compounds. It aims to use artificial intelligence, big data, and deep learning to analyze this mountain of video evidence, to work out who's doing what, where, and when, to track suspects and the people they associate with, and even to predict crime. In November, I visited 3 tech companies in the cities of Beijing and Chongqing to see how China plans to make the communist slogan, "The masses have sharp eyes," into a reality. Here are a few of the ideas that the tech companies showcased. These cameras are looking at a road junction, and they're identifying everything that's passing through. They're looking at cars, reading the number plates, and they're looking at pedestrians, classifying pedestrians according to their age, their gender, what kind of clothes they're wearing, even what kind of hairstyles they have. This software analyzes crowds. It's producing a heat map of where people are massing together, the sort of thing you might use to prevent overcrowding. You can also see that it's also able to track individuals through the crowd. So if you're looking for a suspect, this is the kind of software you might want to use. Here we can see 2 cameras picking faces out of the crowd, comparing those faces to a national database of suspects, of wanted men and women. The police then look at the matches that are flagged and see whether they think that's someone they're looking for. They can then swoop in to potentially arrest or question the person that the cameras have identified. A completely different application now. This camera is trained on the face of a truck driver. It's looking at his facial expressions and what he's doing to see whether he's showing any signs of tiredness. If the score rises above a certain level, then he's seen as too tired to drive. His company will be alerted. They'll give him a call and tell him to take a rest.
Guys, what do you think?
Wow.
Right. Before you say anything, Kester, I want you to reflect on, because I know this will be a concern for everybody knows that Kester is a conservative Kester, right? Kester, reflect on privacy around this conversation, okay? But again, it takes us back to what this conversation is about. How can we have a secure country where crime is minimized to the barest minimum? A country where we can sleep with our 2 eyes closed and be sure that nothing will happen. A country that you can decide to leave your house for whatever reason at any time of the day. How can we have this if technology is not central to our security architecture? Ife, your first reaction to this video?
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised because we've known China that to be at the forefront of technology, and what strikes me is the president being the major driver of taking that responsibility, and it is not something we see with most leaders, right? We have a lot of leaders that shy away from responsibilities. They don't want to take ownership. In the technology aspects, I feel it's a very good thing to have. Because if you want a society to function, you have to ensure that you have a data-driven society, a society that is run by data, right? In order to make your decision, right? So if you have a good and accurate data, you'll be able to make informed and better decision. Take a look at what happened with this Russia, where they apprehended those perpetrators. They were able to do that because they have a lot of data, talking about the calls they've been making, and you'd actually be surprised as to how this event unfolds, right? One of the perpetrators was he said he was just there and someone reached out to him on Telegram. An unknown person reached out to him on Telegram and they paid him $5,000, right? And just through social media, it's just like having someone just reach out to you on IG and telling you to go to Kaduna to bomb Kaduna. It is not the integration of all those systems are actually really very complex. It's a very simple process, but for Russia to get all this in place, it is actually really fascinating. And that's the same thing we need to do when it comes to because we have to bring it down to Nigeria, right? In Nigeria, I think what we need to do, the first thing, I will talk about the implementation of all these technology infrastructures first. What our first advice is orientation, right? we have to have leaders that are like very well oriented when it comes to security, and not just talking about physical security, and also security that borders around the logical spheres also.
We know technology should drive security. You saw what China is doing. Look at those facts and numbers. From privacy standpoint, what are your worries? We want to address issue of security, but around privacy, what are your worries? Esther?
Thank you, Afo. Setting aside the fact that China has one of the largest population and all, that we have the whole world, and over half of the total number of CCTV cameras are in China. That goes to show a lot of. First of all, they've been at this and they have been very intentional about it. If anything, this video attests to that. Now, bringing it back to Nigeria, because we're talking about Nigeria here. This is our country, our motherland. We want to now look at, how can we, because I'm going to answer your question, Afu, but I'm trying to get to it in a particular way. How can we get to the point where we can say, or a person can say, without the presence of Olode or security, I hope I pronounced that right, what we call in Lagos, what you call those security, Olode, or maybe a security at your estate or something. Anybody that is going out to look for a place to rent, one of the biggest things that you want to factor, right, is security. Is there security in this area? Now, if you ask these people, what kind of security are you referring to? What you will hear them say is they should have a lot there or a security team at the front of the gate, right? And this is the kind of, like, if you watch the olden days movies, right, films of the past, that's the way they have their security. But clearly we've seen how, things have actually gone way beyond. How do we think, just like you said, if Russia were able to apprehend those people so quick? It's technology. So now coming back to privacy, let's even focus on CCTV, because like it watches your, like if we have CCTV in every corner of every street, it means you are being observed by the camera throughout. So now, should there even be a question of, I don't have my privacy? You can have your privacy in your house, right? Because as much as I come from this conservative standpoint in most of these things, I would actually not question or fault the need for surveillance camera in every street, right? It is very important. You mentioned something earlier, Phil, that there are many crimes today, kidnapping, killings that happens that gets swept under. In fact, it doesn't even come up, it doesn't surface because nobody knows. There are many remote areas, and even on the island in Lagos, there are many remote places that things can happen from A to Z without any interference, right? So I don't think we should even be concerned about privacy, because you wouldn't do anything that is private in a public place, and the only places that these surveillance cameras will be installed are obviously in public environment. So I don't think we have issues with privacy here. I'm all for it.
Okay.
I'm all for it.
Afo, before you proceed, Kester, Afo, okay. I think, Kester, talking about privacy, I think we should, talking about surveillance and talking about data privacy, I think you should be conscious of the fact that surveillance systems are not entirely encrypted. I can literally now, I can just go to Google and just search for an area. Should I try that? I can do that now, and you see a real-time surveillance of an area. So now let's take, for example, you have a serial killer that is interested in killing someone, right? Now he has access to surveillance system. So let's say we have surveillance in Nigeria across every street in Nigeria. And a serial killer wants to do his job. He has identified his target. This surveillance system would only make it easy for him to actually know where his target is headed, because he has a footage of the paths the target is going to take. So I think for China, I don't know how their security system is being implemented, but I know that there are some surveillance systems that are very accessible. like from anywhere in the world. I can literally go to Google right now and just search for surveillance camera. I think I'll do that. I'll show you that.
So if again, so that we still remain focused on the theme of our conversation, which of course is technology as a major tool of operation when it comes to a safe, secured environment. And Nigeria is our focus today. My argument is that the reason why we are facing all these security challenges we're currently dealing with, yes, we can't take away the economic factor out of it, but it's simply because technology is not central to what we are doing. The example you cited, that is possible if what you want to search for is a public space that anyone can have access to, public surveillance, right? And of course, you and I know that if you want to encrypt end to end, that of course can happen. But let me call your attention to something, and let's compare that city, the city that was cited in that video. Let's compare that city, let's compare it to Lagos. Interestingly, I also was involved, in the smart city project of Lagos, which Lagos is implementing. I was part of it, right? And I can authoritatively tell you that as of today, we only have just about 2,000 thereabout cameras spread around Lagos. Now, a city of about the same size population-wise, from that video you just watched, has over 800,000 cameras that is part of their smart city project. And if you look at the confidence that comes with it, it said we have control over traffic. With this, we have control over security. And most importantly, we have control over air pollution in terms of air quality. And that is a big deal in China. So guys, you can see how far behind we are as a country. And all of this is happening because of technology that is central to what they are doing. Right from the very top, from the leadership. Chairman Chi, as is fondly called, is sitting on the AI Commission. AI, which everybody knows that is going to play a major role for any future advancement. If you are talking about productivity and efficiency, if as a country we don't have our own AI commission or our AI agenda, Nigeria is far behind. And that's what we have to be deliberate about. We are facing the challenges we are facing today as a country. Security-wise is because security is still not central to what we are doing as a country. Security is not a tool of operation when it comes to everything around security for us. Kester, I want to come back to you. I just want to be sure that I've been able to establish the point, for you guys to build on. As a country, if, for example, you don't have policies like, there has been conversation around state policing for quite a while, right? And up as we speak, that is still a policy that is still yet to be decided on. Why can't we have state policing, in a country as big as Nigeria? I think that is something that government should look at. Secondly, of course, is, again, part of what will be considered when this is being looked at would be privacy. Mandatory implementation of surveillance in public spaces. You run an hotel, you run a school, all those public spaces, there should be a policy that is actually checked and real-time verified. For again, central to some of these things, obviously, would be what? Power, electricity. If you want to have a city that has a technology run or technology driven security architecture, power is very important. Guys?
Yeah. So I just want to chip in just a piece of so the very first presidential, or would I say president's manifesto that I read happened to be Tinubu's manifesto before he became the president. So from everything I read there, as far as security and security is concerned, it seems as though in the next 4 or 8 years, we shouldn't even expect much from that end, because everything that bothered around, even tech itself and all, now this is not to shade anything in any way, just my own view, right? It sounded as if a copywriter that knew how to put words together to inspire was done. That was how it sounded. It wasn't really I don't want to use the word realistic now, more of, it was vague, right? It was vague. Now, after speaking with some older people that I consider elders about this and all, they always, they all came with this, don't even look at manifestos if you want to look at it. But this is like your statement. This is like so the point I'm driving at here is, already it seems as though in this area, as far as security technology and security is concerned, we are not really prioritizing it, right? And I think what this particular episode of Tech Talk with AFO should do for anyone who happens to be watching it right now is to bring that awareness that it is actually a thing of high importance, right? It's actually a thing of high importance for us to get involved in, for our government to get involved in, right? Let me stop here for now.
I think, Kester, you are very right. One of the things I've been saying is, we have to be deliberate. The government have to be deliberate. There will be no system without the people. The people are the system. So if we have a system in place without the people driving it, it will just become useless. We have a lot of technology. We have a lot of people. There are things that we can actually use to improve security in Nigeria. So many things, talking about intrusion detection, facial mapping, target counting, artificial intelligence. And one thing in China is that the reason why they have these things so easy is that getting security gadgets is actually very cheap, and cheap to get, cheap to implement, right? I know in Nigeria, the cost of getting one camera for an household that is that their monthly budget is, let's say, 20,000, and one camera is like 20,000 naira. So would you expect an household like that to afford security gadgets? We have a whole lot of security gadgets that can actually work, but these things are expensive. That's on the household side. But from the government side, the government have to be deliberate about wanting to implement security. I know they have access. I know they have the government have smart people that have actually researched these things. I can't be coming here and now be saying there's this technology the government should use. No, the government needs to be deliberate about security. And how can we be deliberate? By setting up policies and being in charge and taking responsibility for whatever policies that are in place. There has to be someone that is responsible. Someone has to be responsible for something. Nobody wants to be responsible in terms of all these things. Nobody wants to own it that, okay, this is my fault. This is meant to be in place. This is my fault. Nobody wants to take ownership of all these things. So we just have to be deliberate. The government have to be deliberate.
I agree with you that government has to be deliberate, and the extent of their efforts should be technological driven. No question about that.
Yeah.
Right? If we want to get our security situation under control, again, from everything we've been saying, there should be a government that is intentional and wants to truly make a difference.
Yeah.
Some of it has to be policy driven. There's enforcement that goes with it, but you must have that leadership that is truly interested in making a difference. You can't have a situation where you have this back-to-back killings every day. You have so many backlog of uninvestigated crimes, right? I mean, you have instances of you have different cases of let's even leave kidnapping. right? Let's even bring it home to things that affect women like we've never seen before. People don't even talk about it as much as they should. The different cases of rape, molestation, child molestation, all of those things are security issues. But if you look at how to curb, you can't eradicate. So a terrorist act can happen in the US, can happen in China, right? It means that security would always continue to be a challenge. But it's important for you to learn from incidents and make amends.
Yeah, make steps to mitigation.
Exactly, and make people have a sense of security, right? From countries, from things that like issues that they've had in past. What they do is look at different incidents and see how to guide against it.
Yeah.
Why do we have, baggage scanning, body scanners all over airports? If you look at, the security architecture that followed the 9/11 attack. So it became a question of every check you do at the airport, you can't even allow it. It has to be 100% accurate all the time, right? Because just for you to drop the ball, 1 in 1 million could actually bring down the entire, aviation industry in any country. And that is why they pay attention to every detail. The same approach should apply to, all areas of our economy. Security is a major issue, and security should be looked at. So just to even like shed more light to the conversation we're having, if I play the second video, the second video speaks to my point around a particular security challenge brings about solutions that will guide against it in future. And there are ways you really can go about addressing these security issues that our country is facing. Play the second video.
Just place this spike strip along a stretch of road, lay in wait, and press a button, and the device will send spikes across the road, puncturing the tires of any car unlucky enough to get in its way. Arizona police stopped kidnappers in their tracks with a gadget called the grappler, which uses super strong nylon bands to wrap around a car's tires and prevent it from moving. If you are involved in a high-speed pursuit, just deploy the Star Chase and it will launch a GPS device that attaches to the perpetrator, allowing you to covertly track them. Watch as this ingenious tool scoops loose bullets and allows cops to reload their weapons easily and efficiently. Just slide the device over the bullets and it picks up 9 at a time. Arlington police officers unveiled a super-powered battering ram that can destroy any door with the press of a button. There's no need to swing the device as it delivers numerous devastating impacts. Just attach the K100 to your K9 unit and it will record covert video wherever your dog goes. This can be useful to gather intel on criminals before officers enter the scene to make an arrest. It may look like an ordinary net, but this strong barrier can stop a semi-truck driving at full speed. It can be activated in less than 2 seconds to stop criminals from getting away. This game-changing surveillance tool uses radar to see through walls so you can coordinate a sting operation before entering a building. The lightweight radar can see through virtually any surface with ease. Far more portable than the average set of handcuffs, the Cobra cuffs fit into your back pocket but offer comparable strength to steel. Just lock the cuffs in place and the perpetrator will be totally incapacitated. Get high-definition video footage in real time while you monitor criminals using this state-of-the-art drone. The touchscreen allows for digital zoom so you can get in on the action before it's too late. Nicknamed the Guardian Angel, these shoulder-mounted police lights allow officers to use a siren while they are on foot. The lights draw attention to the police officer and reduce the likelihood of an accident. The Air 107U electric shocker is one of the most powerful stun guns commercially available. It places 2 sharpened prongs into your opponent and delivers 120,000 volts of deadly electricity to their body. Weighing only 5 pounds, the portable pop shield can save your life if you're engaged in hand-to-hand combat. This amazing shield is bulletproof even at close range, so it will keep you safe under heavy fire. Watch as these cops demonstrate the Bola Wrap, a unique invention that ties up perpetrators in seconds by shooting a piece of sturdy nylon cord that will wrap around any object it strikes. Improve police training with this advanced augmented reality simulator. Just attach the headset and police can work through a series of lifelike challenges in order to prepare for the real world.
Guys, again, watching this video explains in detail my point around how technology is central to security, right? If you look at, all the countries around the world that have their security under control, it is simply because technology is the major driver of their security architecture. Kester, what do you think?
Seeing so much of all of these, creations, right? It's just like, I think it's just as you've said it. They weren't just created because, I love making things and I want to make, stuff that, police officers could use. It's clearly due to issues, right? They've met with some kind of constraints. They've met with some kind of roadblock at one point or the other that hindered, their policing, that hindered their security, so to say, their security work, so to say. And then, that was what bettered the creation of all of this. You can almost always tie these actual creations to a problem it is solving in that context, right? That is the intentionality we're talking about, right? Being intentional about, all of these things to further help, to further aid the entire provision of security to the people. So again, just as the context of this episode is about, bringing it back down to Nigeria, how many of these kind of things can we say? In fact, since I was a very little baby, like since I was a boy, I've always seen the same type of gun with our police. This is, again, no shade to Nigerian police officers, but they've always had this same gun. It looks like, I'm sure it works, but it just shows the lack of attention in that regard, in equipment that would help. Yeah.
Kesa, that's your example, to be honest with you, explains why we are currently facing the challenge we are facing as a country. You understand? How can you expect a better service from your police force, right, when they don't even have the right tools to work with? Yeah. These are issues that are begging for attention. It's not going to be about the number of men you have in uniform that will determine how secure your country or our country or our environment will be. If they're the size of a 1004 complex in China, 1004 in Nigeria, as if my memory my rough estimation in terms of count, the number of security men and women that are securing 1004 flats will be plus or minus 100.
More than.
Even more than that, right? And even with the numbers, things get missing every day. There are security breaches around. So you ask yourself, is it about the numbers? Is it about putting more men? Facility that is times 10 of this same type of facility in China would not even have up to 10 men or 20 men responsible for the security of that facility.
Security.
And that's even if you see anybody at all, right? Yeah. So we need to really be more productive. We have to be intentional and, get the right technology that would make us more productive, that will make our environment more secure. Nothing stops us from having a city-focused security architecture. Surulere local government has its own unique issues, different from Ikorodu, and their approach will be different on how they would deal with some of these security incidents or security issues. Yeah. And that's why some of those things that we started talking about are very important. Look at all those equipment in the video. It shows that these equipment are to address a particular issue. A fleeing vehicle, right? This guy that is fleeing away, can we have an automatic spark strike that will instantly get the vehicle down? The grappler, the battering ram. These are interesting equipment that is peculiar to whatever challenges any country or any city is facing.
So, I think we still have to talk about technology accessibility and cost, right? I know that a lot of Nigerians, they don't even want to have any do with the government when it comes to security. They want to secure their home properties themselves. But there's this issue with costs, like getting these technologies, right? I can say that each of the technology in this video is worth like hundreds, thousands of dollars. And I can say that if I want to like...
If that is depending on who you are talking to. So, again, for our audience.
We are talking to everybody.
Sorry, this for our audience, the solution, if you are looking for any of this solution, you know the person to talk to. AFO is a veteran when it comes to technology, particularly in the physical security space. If you're looking for surveillance solution, depending on whatever your project is, I'm more than willing to offer free consultation on how to deploy or deliver some of these things. And to the first question or ask, expensive, it's a myth, right? You want security for your home, you want security for your facility, security for your city. We can actually deliver a budget surveillance solution for a city. If you will still achieve the same thing achieved in China, and you will still get your city or state secured. If you continue with your point, I just thought I should quickly talk about what I do for the audience to know who to talk to in case they need my service on having a technology-driven security architecture. Continue with your point.
Yeah, technology accessibility is what is my own major concern is technology accessibility and technology awareness. And I know that a lot of security professionals are doing a lot. Kesta is doing a lot. Even our Techtalk-With-AFO, we talk weekly. Like AFO's article talks about security and how we can actually AI and everything. Technology accessibility is actually very important, right? If a lot of, take for example, a lot of average household, how many of them can afford cameras, right? And a lot of people are not even aware that they are cheap cameras. I know if you meet someone like AFO, or talking to the audience now, if you meet someone like AFO or someone like Kesta, that you want a camera that is suitable, that will do the best, they will get it for you. But we still have to like get people aware to understand that you don't need millions of dollars to achieve a proper security. And it all boils down to being aware and training people on how they can actually achieve security, even in their own little way, how they can secure themselves in their own little way. And I think a lot of people are not accessible to this technology. Probably, I don't know, maybe it is because they are not aware of it, or they are not just mindful. Probably they think it is expensive. So my question would be, how can we get it to these people, like to this average household, to the poor people? How can we get this kind of technology that should just keep them safe? Because we know that for rich people, they actually know how to secure their home. They can fly out to London, get expensive gadgets and use it to secure whatever facilities they have. And we know that right now the governments are not intentional, although we are speaking to the government to be more intentional about security implementation in the country. But we still need to speak to those that cannot afford a lot of these security gadgets. So my question would be to AFO that how can we like introduce these security gadgets, this security solution, and how can we educate the average household on the security solutions that they would need? Take for example, someone that is living in maybe one room, how can they secure their space? Someone living in 2-bedroom flats. I know there are so many technology gadgets that can actually be implemented for a better security. So my question would be, how can we keep these people aware? Is it that they are not aware, or is it that they are mindful of cost? So those two questions are actually
I will try to answer your question together as much as I can. Again, like I said earlier, I think the first thing that we want to get under control, right, is to have a security architecture that is technology driven. And generally, when you have a situation that you want to deal with, particularly when it is a country-related situation or a country-related crisis, the very first place to start in arresting or getting that situation under control, it starts with leadership, right? Leadership right from presidency, like the example we saw in the video. Okay, now part of what that would do is to set the tone for whatever challenges we are facing as a country. Because at the end of the day, why is an individual trying to secure himself? Because of the lack of trust in leadership. You understand? That's why that issue of having a security architecture that truly will address the problem we are facing. Then if you bring it back to affordability, right? How can people have, and I said earlier, a bit of it is a myth, right? When people hear surveillance solution, the first thing that comes to their mind is going to be expensive.
Exactly.
Things are changing, and why education has to change. You know, the same way you can have a budget surveillance solution for a state, you also can have an exorbitant budget for a state deployment. If you bring it back to home as well, what are your pain points? What exactly are you trying to address? These are the things that will define what would be the appropriate solution to address your concern. What works for Mr. A is not necessarily going to work for Mr. B. And outside that, you know, trust me, if you get to computer village, you can really get things to happen. You know, and I said earlier, you know, if you have a project, something you're working on, feel free to reach out to us on Techtalk-With-AFO, and we are more than willing to work with you, guide you on what you need to deliver. You know, just to wrap up my thoughts, you know, I don't know if Kester also has, you know, one or two things to say before we wrap up this session. Techtalk-With-AFO is where we have conversation around technology, and we have different projects we are promoting and we are pushing just to ensure that Nigerians have access to the right technology, the right information that will make them more productive. And in our own little way, we are making effort to make a difference. Last week when we talked about AI, if you all remember, the concern for us, on Techtalk-With-AFO is how to ensure that we have Nigerians in their thousands, if not in millions, to also be actively involved in this AI race, right? And that can only happen. And for example, I said, we won't take excuse that yes, infrastructure is why, or our state of economy is the reason why that cannot happen. If India can do it, Nigeria can also do it. And what do we need to do? Attack it from all angles to ensure that we also have a seat at the table. That also still applies to what we are discussing today on security. So other programs, tech quests that we take to schools, laptops for kids in secondary school and undergraduate, all of these things are things that are dear to us. Remember, as usual, to follow Techtalk-With-AFO on all our mediums. Kester, where are you?
Yes, so I think I want to end with this little story. In one of the companies, security companies I work for, Secure Tech Nigeria, you can see the logo right here. Yeah, we conducted an experiment in Computer Village. I think 2 years ago or last year, early last year, if I'm not mistaken. It was this idea that I just came up with, and I took my media team right to the Computer Village, and we decided to do we decided to do interviews with, you know, shop owners at Computer Village. You know, most of what you see there are people that sell gadgets and stuff. So we were asking a very simple question. We were asking, would you rather get a particular amount of money right here and now, right? Or this list of security gadgets for your home or your shop? And to my surprise, a large percentage of the people, they went for the security. I was actually expecting people
that can be Nigeria. People will go for the money.
I was surprised myself, right? Because
Tessa, hold on. No. The question is, what's the amount? And you are probably in a wrong location. People that know the value of what you are offering.
Value of what
Okay, so the amount wasn't that much. It was like a practical 10K, right? And you know, we just mentioned.
What are you offering as an alternative to the 10,000?
It's a CCTV camera, right? A CCTV camera. So it was the difference wasn't that much, right? But a lot of them, in fact, we even had it in various versions. We had the one where we said you get $1 million and you get like a full security solution, and they still went most. Though we had people picking the money, we had people, like some would say, oh, if I get this money, I can provide security for myself and all, right? But the fact that there wasn't any downplaying on that security gadget, security aspect of it, it means that to a decent extent, at least, we as the people are, no matter how people from other side of the world would say, oh, these people are not, we still understand the importance of these kinds of security for ourselves. So now, like I mentioned the last time, it boils down because, like Ife has rightly said, many people, right, individuals, right, based on their household income, might not necessarily they might not be able to afford some of these things, right? So now it boils down to what is the government doing for us, right? So I would just want to leave with that. I know. No. In the context of security, because that is their responsibility. That is their responsibility in the context of security.
Well, I know if you. So the context of his question is different from what you expected my reaction for. Which is what are you doing for Nigeria, and not making it about what Nigeria is doing for you, right? But in this particular context, what Kesa is saying is, government, what are you doing for us as it relates to security? I can secure my home, I can secure my house, right? At my own level, I probably can also guide against where I'm going, not to keep late nights and all of that. But at the end of the day, the security of the country we live, of the city we stay, or the state we find ourselves, we cannot control that. Then, if we can't, whose responsibility is it? Government, obviously. And that's why we were having this particular episode that is focused on security, and the only way things can move forward is for government to be intentional about it, you know, which both of you mentioned, you know, earlier. Ife, why not talk?
Well, I'll just wrap it up with one very peculiar thing I would like the government to do. I know the government have to be deliberate about this, but we need stability of power. We can't have integrated systems where there's stability of power. It's not possible. The government should start electricity. We need stability of power. So if there's power stability, it drives innovation. A lot of people would be in their home and create stuff. I was checking IG yesterday, just randomly, and I saw a guy. What he does, like a lot of cool things with different gadgets. He builds robotic arms and everything. Then I was just thinking about it that if this guy did Ninja, I don't think he will be able to computing power. I think it's very important that electricity drives innovation, and even all the cameras we are seeing here, like all the cameras we are seeing around, like the solar panels, all these, all the computer voices removed the panels and everything. So we just need to, the government needs to really put all these things in place. Like Afo said, like Kessler said, the government needs to be intentional. That's just the key word. They need to be intentional. They need to be deliberate about making sure that all these things are in place. Only then can we have. Look at China now. Look at their president. He's owning it with his chest that yes, I want to be on the forefront. I want to be the major driver. It is same thing.
I'm tired of being number 2.
Exactly. That's what we need.
Guys, it's really been a very interesting day on this issue around security, and I sincerely believe that our conversation will definitely get to the stakeholders that can make a difference, that can actually help us address these challenges we're facing, right? Thank you for your time. I really have, I mean, for me, it was no dull moment throughout, and I believe it was same for all our viewers. And guys, it's important for people to subscribe to our channel, right? It's important for them to follow us on all medium. Yeah. All right. Looking forward to the next episode. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
And always continue to watch Tech Talk with AFO.